Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's the Coach Ron Tunick. Go to CoachTunick.com and welcome to the business of life. I'm so honored that you would listen. I mean that sincerely from the bottom of my heart. Our show brought to you by Lisa's Tax Service. Hey, it's tax season, so give her a call. Some of my listeners have already, and they've enjoyed working with her. Lisa's Tax Service, 661, well, you know that, 661 area code 904-2351. So, I get good news, I get bad news, I get complaints, I get happy texts and emails. So in the last couple of weeks, I said a couple things. I said on the air, well, I only coach rich people. Well, I coach people who can afford to pay me. So I thought today, because I did get a number of listeners to call up, I thought I would take the whole hour on the business of life and do some coaching. And the things that I'm going to talk about today are some things that I talk about to the people that pay me, to the corporations and businesses that pay me. So I'm a capitalist, I'm an entrepreneur, and I want to be paid for my time. I'm an older gentleman. I put a lot of work in over the years. And so I wrote a book called The Thinking Room. You can go to Amazon or you can call me, and I'm happy to figure out how to get you the book for $20. I don't know, on Amazon I think it's $23. Very popular book called The Thinking Room. And it's the front of the book says if you go to Facebook on KHTS, you'll see the front of the book. Or I'll hold it up here on YouTube. You can see the front of the book. So let's get into it. How do I want to say this? My life changed dramatically over 20 years ago when I changed how I was thinking. I got stuck in my life. I got stuck in my process of thinking. I got stuck in business. I got stuck in life. And I realized that I had to make changes. I realized that if I kept doing the same things, well, you know the old story, if I keep doing the same things over and over, you know what's going to happen. So I started reading books on strategy. I started reading books on great leaders. I started reading books on people who have achieved a great deal of success. And over the last 25 years, I developed a different approach to life. I developed a different approach to thinking, and it's turned out to be the best thing that's ever happened to me, because in many, many ways I've slowed down. I'm going to open up the Thinking Room today, talking about pacing and timing. But when I talk about the Thinking Room in workshops or to groups, and I'm coaching 4 or 5 businesses every month, and being I'm a serious sports fan. I'm not an ex-sports fan. I'm a serious sports fan. And when you think about the Super Bowl, which is one of my favorite holidays, every Super Bowl reminds me of how athletes are really forced to reinvent themselves. The 2 teams that make it to the Super Bowl have pushed past their injuries, to drip gallons of sweat, cried hundreds of painful tears to participate in this most exalted event. They epitomize perseverance, which I think is one of the greatest character traits that you can have. I think it's one of my great character traits is I just don't give up. I'm not a quitter. Do I have temporary defeat? Absolutely. Do I lose sometimes? Absolutely. I'm human just like everybody else. But I'm also resilient, and I pick myself up, brush myself off, get back up, and find a better way to succeed. Find a better pathway to overcoming some of my picadillos that don't work well in my life. Anyway, back to these teams that are in the Super Bowl. So these teams reinvent themselves each year, starting with a clean slate and working towards the end game. They start with, I don't want to get into the details, but let's start with a spring practice. Then they get into 2-a-days, and then the season starts. So it's a time for growth for these Super Bowl teams. It's a time for real change for these athletes. It's a time for renewal. And they're reinventing themselves. That's why they keep practicing every day. So on my show today, I'm not asking for your blood, sweat, and tears. I'm asking for us, you and me, to do a serious brain workout. So let me explain. First of all, if you want to change, if you're stuck in your life, things just aren't working, then let's start with the ability to teach yourself how to think. That's why I call the book The Thinking Room. So find a quiet place in your life. It could be a room in your home. My thinking room is my office. If you come to my office, I built it like a den. I'm surrounded with all the things that make me happy in my life. Pictures of my family, pictures of events, pictures of things that I've done in my life, over 1,000 books. I've made my office very comfy, very comfortable. And in my office, I don't feel threatened by anything or anybody. So it is a great place to totally relax and do some deep, serious thinking. Thinking is truly the hardest thing that we do. So it's a place where I do my best thinking, in my office. And I'll come into my office sometimes early in the morning, and I'll put my legs up, and I'll just relax. It takes, some people say, Coach, you're talking about meditation. Well, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. It's my way of expressing myself by thinking differently, and so I'll share with you what I do. So I sit on my chair, I put my legs up. Sometimes it takes me 15 or 20 minutes really to relax, really to get my pulse rate. My normal pulse rate is in the low 60s. But, if I can get my pulse rate down in the low 50s, or I don't think I've ever, maybe once or twice I've got it into the high 40s. Long distance runners, their pulse rate is in the 40s. So if I can get my pulse rate down in the low 50s, now I'm really getting mellow. Now, when you really, really, really relax, and I sometimes over the years I put music on. I'll put the music on. I love the Eagles. I love the Beach Boys. I'm a rock and roll guy. I love country music. So sometimes I'll start my thinking room with music. Then as the minutes go by, I'll lower the sound, and sometimes I'll just turn it off, or I'll have it quietly in the background. But being quiet, getting quiet with yourself, that's where you have to start. You have to really get quiet. And that it's something that you practice, because in this day and age, we're all rushing around. We're all crazy with all the things that we have to do, all the trips we have to take, the things we have to pick up and deliver, and appointments and this and that. We've got a lot going on. All of us have a lot going on. I get it. But if you want to change your life, if you want to learn how to do some deep thinking, then you got to get quiet. And it takes practice. You're not going to do this in the first week or two. It may take a month or two for you to understand how to lower your pulse rate and allow all the really creative things that could take place in the thinking room to come into your brain. Everything starts with your brain. I don't want to get in the weeds today, but everything starts with your brain. So you're going to train your brain on how to help you do things better, help you be more interesting, more creative, more fun, more healthy, more everything. It starts with your brain. You own your brain. The brain doesn't own you. You own the brain. But you have to train your brain. And it takes time. It's not going to happen in a day, a week, a month. It takes time. But you can see progress. So why thinking? Why change your thinking? Why did I change my thinking? Because most of my young life, I was a reactor. If I would listen to the news, if I would listen to the radio, I grew up listening to the radio. I love the radio. Obviously, I'm on the radio. You're listening to my voice now. My name is Coach Ron Tunick. You can go to CoachTunick.com. You can Google my name, Coach Ron Tunick. I'm a motivational speaker and a business coach. And I've studied human nature for the last 40 years. 40 years I've been discovering and researching why people do certain things, why people react to certain stimuli. And it's helped me understand how to be a better person, how to be more successful in business, how to be a better friend, how to be a better husband, how to be a really caring, loving husband and a better caring friend. And more importantly, in the last 25 years, I've been able to build solid long-term relationships, because you have to make an investment in people, and you have to learn truly to make an investment in yourself. You have to make an investment in yourself. So where do you start? By changing how you think. That's why I call the book The Thinking Room. Okay, so you found this quiet place. Now, what you're going to try to accomplish is understanding that you want to make the decisions in your life. And how do you do that? How do you learn to build that true self-confidence? All of us have All of us have self-esteem issues. I have self-esteem issues too. After all these years, I still have self-esteem issues. All of us do. If somebody says something negative about me, man, it hurts my feelings. It really affects me. But instead of, laying down and falling down and whining and crying and having a pity party, I pick myself up and I say, okay, coach, let's go into your thinking room. Let's figure out, like a puzzle, what happened. The pieces didn't come together this time. Things didn't work this time, so let's figure it out. So if you learn how to teach yourself to think better, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get better results. And how does it work? If you think better, your confidence becomes more genuine. You're starting to make better decisions. And when you start having winning decisions, when you make a decision and you win with that decision, and now you get a better result from that winning decision, guess what happens? You start to believe in yourself. And now you can have your own opinions about everything, your own opinions about politics and health and life. This country is just full of fads. This morning, I got a call from a dear friend who says, Coach, you need to be on a mineral program. And I asked her, I said, well, just give me one mineral. And she said, well, calcium. Let's talk about calcium. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I know you're not a doctor. You didn't graduate from Duke. You didn't graduate from the UCLA Medical School. Why are you an expert? I didn't ask her that question directly, but I'm just saying to myself, I was able to think through, I like this person, but I'm not going to react just because a friend calls up and says, hey, the sky is falling. Remember Chicken Little? And that's what most of us do. We react to what other people say. We react to what we hear on the news because we're not used to doing our discovery. We're not used to doing our research. We're not used to paying attention to the details. We're just trying to get through life. We've got so many issues going on. We just want to get through today. That's when you know you're stuck. And if you can learn and teach yourself that you're good enough, that you're smart enough, that the decisions that you make are important and they count, and now you start winning, holy smoly. You know what happens is your self-esteem that we all kind of struggle with, your self-esteem actually gets healthier. That doesn't mean you're not going to get your feelings hurt, but when your self-esteem is healthy, everything else is pretty healthy. Because, we all have some kind of an ego. All of us want to have a healthy ego. All of us want to be able to able to say thank you when somebody pays a compliment, to understand how humility works. But a lot of people have no humility. A lot of people don't understand gratitude. A lot of people want to blame everybody else. And maybe this is where we start today's little chat. We want to blame everybody else because we screwed up. We want to blame everybody else because we're not making it in life. We want to blame everybody else because we haven't enjoyed the riches that we see on television. We want to blame everybody else because they seem to be doing better. And I think where you start is you have to stop comparing yourself to anybody. You are unique. You are fantastic. You are full of greatness. And it takes a while to have that self-belief that you know that you have greatness inside of you. And it starts with believing in yourself. It starts with having a higher self-confidence and a better self-image and a self-esteem that's healthy. You've got to believe that you're here for a reason. What is your purpose in life? Have you figured it out? Sometimes just being a great mommy and daddy is your purpose. Really giving back to your kids, really providing a role model for your kids, because think about it, your kids are going to touch 1,000 people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people. And if you were that role model, if you were that little voice in the back of their head that they could represent in good times and tough times and bad times, and represent your name and your family name and be responsible successful people, success is not about money. But I think it is important that you understand through the thinking process that it is important to have a purpose in life. You need to get out of bed. You need to have a sense of accomplishment. So it's not about money. It's about knowing that you have value. And that requires thinking. That requires that you understand the process of thinking. Look, I am no genius, and I am no scholar. But I can do scholarly acts. I can actually, and I have taught myself, prior to the internet, I'd go to libraries and sit there for hours and do research. Now I can do my research on the internet. I can do discovery on the internet. So what have I learned through the process of writing my book called The Thinking Room? You're listening to the coach on the show we call The Business Life on KHTS, one of the great radio stations in America. It happens to be right here in Santa Clarita, California. KHTS AM 1220. They have a great app. You can listen to any radio show, all your favorite radio shows on the app. Go to the App Store and download the app. Just put in KHTS in the App Store. It'll pop up. And you're off to a good start because now you can listen to all your favorite shows. Our show is brought to you by Lisa's Tax Service. Her phone number is in the 661 area code 904-2351. She's very, very good at what she does. She's a certified tax preparer, which means she can represent you in front of the IRS. My show is also brought to you by Southern Smoke. I love going to lunch and dinner right here in Old Town Newhall on Main Street. And they're at 24255 Main Street. And I'm telling you what, their mac and cheese, their pulled pork, they've got a whole full-time selection of just great Southern cooking. It's called Southern Smoke. Look them up. Okay, so back to our little coaching session today. I'm talking about my book, The Thinking Room, and I started changing. I got stuck about 25 years ago, stuck in life, stuck in business, and I knew that I had to make changes, but I wanted to be responsible for myself. I was tired of just reacting to what I heard at the club or what I heard at dinner. I wanted to be able to be self-contained. I wanted to be able to believe in myself. I wanted to be strong emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. I wanted to be able to count on myself. I wanted to be able to think properly, think smartly. I wanted other people to ask me questions about what they should do. So now I'm a business coach, and I coach 4 or 5 businesses every month. Okay, so in my opening, I said, get quiet, find a place, office, home, anywhere. It could be on the beach where this is your thinking room. This is your go-to place where you can really lower your pulse rate. So I want to get into a little bit of the thinking room. So one of the things that I did years and years ago that really has changed my life is I taught myself how to pace. Pace, P-A-C-E. I pace. I don't drive fast anymore. I don't talk fast anymore. I don't eat fast anymore. I don't do anything fast anymore. Because when you're going too fast, you're missing so much in life. And you know what the number one thing is you're missing? You're missing your relationships. When you go too fast, you can't invest in making these relationships work. So you may wonder why you don't have a happy marriage. You may wonder why you don't have friends or best friends. Why people don't invest in you? Because you're going too fast. You don't give people a chance to get to know you. You don't give people a chance to friend you. You don't give yourself a chance to enjoy what's around you, to explore what's around you, to enjoy what's around you. You're going so fast because everybody else is going so fast. So there's a story here about pacing. And the story starts with my oldest daughter, who became a child psychologist, and she called me up on her very first appointment, and she was crying. I said, Julie, you okay? She says, no, Dad, I'm not okay. I said, what's the matter? She said, I don't think my client liked me. And she was talking so fast. And make a long story short, so I slowed her down. It took several months, and we did a lot of role playing. Today, she's got a tremendous practice in Westlake Village, California, Julie Tunick. And she counsels families, and her specialty is teenagers. And now Julie paces herself. Now she talks to other people about pacing, because when you go at a speed that's comfortable for everybody else, it's probably comfortable for you. You know, a lot of people, they're driving 75, 80 miles on the freeway. You know, let these people pass you up. Why are they in a hurry? You're going to get there. They're going to get there. But, you know, it may be too dangerous. They may not get there because of their driving skills. A lot of people going too fast in life don't get there because other people see that they're going too fast, and they don't want to have a relationship with somebody that maybe, look, when you go too fast, there's trust issues involved. We're going to come back, take a break. I'll keep talking about some of the things in my book called The Thinking Room. I'll get back talking about pacing, and pacing leads into timing. So it's a little tease. If you want to have a great marriage and a great friendship and a great career, if you're working, if you're at your desk listening on hometownstation.com, I'm going to come back and talk to you about how important timing is, and how literally this one rule of life, this one ability to think differently about timing, can change your life forever. We're going to come right back. The show is called The Business Life on KHTS right here in Southern California, AM 1220.